Welcome to VetArtSpan. I'm Fred Johnson, and as I say in our podcast, your passport guide through an amazing journey today. I am surrounded by some of the finest human beings on the face of the earth, our women veterans who serve with honor and dignity and courage. And we have the opportunity today to hear their story, a story about experiences that they've had as they served this country and experiences that they have with their unique journey into art and how it has transformed their lives and how it can transform this understanding and this story of veterans and a civilian community coming together. That's what VetArtSpan is all about, and today we'll have the opportunity to hear their authentic and powerful stories. Stay with us. You all have been working together for a long time. Some of you all met for the very first time through this experience. What's it like for you? What has this experience been like for you?
Well, I don't know about the rest of you, but for me it's been empowering because these are all ladies. These are all the women that I have served with. We may have served at different times, but each and every one of them have been here. It's empowering. Hey, we're out there. We're doing something. We're helping.
My name is Janelle Image. I am in the United States Navy's Reserves. I have 17 years of service in. As a military mom now, and as a military daughter, a military sister, and a military wife, there is a deep-seated love for the military. And there's also that disconnect, I guess you could say, because there's a love for being an artist as well. So the flexibility, the creativity, the, I do what I want type of thing is not so desirable in the military. And that's where my conflict happens. This is one of those pieces that I created trying to think back of how I would illustrate my departure as a mom from my kids during deployments. I did a pillow because I know that clay is a very hard material and a pillow is very soft. So this pillow kind of represents the things that I can't rewind. I can't go back and say, hey kids, I missed your first birthday, I missed the first day of school. So I have to lay down with that every night. And sometimes that's a hard pillow to lay on as a mom. As I started doing that as my self-care, my kids started to come in and be curious about what I was doing. And then hence the ability to once again connect with them in a similar manner that my stepdad did many years ago when he was deployed in Desert Storm. So I find that my kids are a lot more interested in asking me the questions and not intimidated by me, because I kind of felt at one point they looked at me as like a drill sergeant. Mom won't understand. She's very black and white, fall in line, follow as I say. And now with art being incorporated into things, they're a little bit more open to kind of like come in the back door and ask me a question. So that has been a huge blessing, in my military career and as a mom too.
My name is Nikita Kaysani Wilson. I served in the United States Army from 2004 until 2014. My time in the military was very beneficial for me, even though I had some hurdles along the way. I really appreciated being able to discover who I really am and my love for helping people see who they really are. It was through my time in the military that I got to see how when people are in tragedy, how it's so important for them to know that someone cares and someone hears them and someone wants to lead them to a path to see how to get out of that dark place. And I found myself doing that a lot, even though that wasn't the path that I was originally trained to do, but it just sort of came to me everywhere I went. I always was connected to someone who needed to know that there was light at the end of a dark tunnel.
I see you, I need you. Come out of the dark, come out, don't be afraid, you are not alone. You are not alone. You are not alone.
And even now after the military, as I'm working to heal through the different war that I had to fight while I served, and taking the time to be able to dance or to sing it will help me to release, because a lot of times we can get so used to feeling like we have to be on all the time, like we can't show that we're hurting, we can't release that. And art helps me to release that pain, to see that it's there and release it in a beautiful way, and know that there is a way out. And that's what art has always done for me, even to this day.
I am Stacy Lynn Moser, and I am a United States Air Force veteran. I went in with this giant attitude that I could do anything. That was instilled from my family, that there was nothing I couldn't do. If I believed it, I could actually get out there and I can do that. I was humbled pretty quickly when I went to one of my tech schools, and it was tough. And I found out that as much effort as I put in and as hard as I tried, that first school was not going to work out for me. So that made me stumble back a few steps, at first, because I couldn't understand that even mentally, that why is this something I cannot do? I believe that there's nothing I couldn't do as long as I worked as hard as I could at it. So I was humbled a little bit. I think that changed my attitude a little bit, just about who I was, and I think it affected a little bit the self-confidence that I had. I found belly dance. I thought that was something very unique and different, kind of like when I first decided that I was going to go ahead and go into the Air Force. That wasn't in my community something that a lot of people did, so it was unique and it was different, and I thought this is going to be great. So when I heard about somebody coming to one of the bases I was at in Kadena and said they had a belly dance class, I was like, that's unique, that's different. I had no idea that it was going to be an outlet to be expressive and to be just a little bit more of myself. I got to bring that back, and I was a little less of a soldier in a line, airman in a line. I was that person again who had personality.
My name is Tia Lewis. My service affiliation is the United States Air Force. When I joined the military, it was a way for me to gain some independence. I felt like if I stayed where I was or went to college, I would never learn how to be an adult, and I felt like the military was my way out into being an adult. This is actually one of my pieces that are it's actually part of my $1 million conch collection. So there are some beads that I actually got from the Bahamas and other places in the Caribbean, as well as there are some Swarovski crystals and jewels and different jewelry that I actually got from various people. Whenever I put jewelry on my seashells, I usually like it to have some sort of meaning. So a lot of times that I get my seashells from people's grandmothers or someone who passed away or something like that, somewhere where the jewelry doesn't have to be worn, but it can still be seen and it can still be beautiful. Art is a way of expressing yourself without having to speak, having to verbally say things. And whether that's writing poetry, whether that's dancing, whether that's drawing, anything, it's just another way of expressing ourselves. And not all the time do veterans have to go to counseling or therapy. It could be art therapy, it could be anything, dance therapy, anything, so singing. So I would like, to be honest, I would love for the military to start actually incorporating that into their service, of it being a thing, where there's more art, there's more dance, there's more theater, to help veterans even coming back from, these traumatic places.
My name is Angel Bennett, and I am a United States Air Force veteran. I was in from 1978 to 1992. They were putting women into the men's career fields. So you know how now you can kind of pick the job you want depending upon your score? That didn't happen with me. I got put into fighter jets, and I worked on fighter jets for almost 15 years and loved every minute of it. The problem was, no matter where I went or what I did, I was a woman walking into a man's world, and I had to fight for every scrap. every scrap of respect. And as I got older, and as I got out of the service, I had to have something to do to keep my mind occupied, to keep my hands occupied, because if I didn't, I'd go back to all my resentments from what happened in the service. I'd go back and I'd think about the things that happened. I should have said this, I should have done that. Here's how this conversation's gonna go, here's how this conversation's gonna go. You have to break that. So if I have a colored pencil in my hand, or a charcoal stick, or a crochet hook, a pastry spreader, if I have something in my hands and my mind is engaged, I'm not going back to that. I'm a happier person. I'm not dwelling on things that may have happened 10 years ago, 15 years ago, 20 years ago. I'm living my life in the here and now, which is what we need to do, in the here and now. This one here is polychromos pencils on sanded paper. And to me, if you look at it, it's bleeding hearts. And if you notice, only one is bleeding. Reminds me of my veterans. Reminds me of the ones who are still bleeding. Get out there, all these other people, they'd love to be with you.
My name is Kaylin Thornhill, and I was a part of the United States Army. Aphasia is an impairment of language, affecting the production or comprehension of speech and the ability to read or write. Aphasia is always due to injury to the brain, most commonly from a stroke, particularly in older individuals. But brain injuries resulting in aphasia may also arise from head trauma. It does not mess with my intelligence. Words just don't come out of my mouth the way I have it formulated in my mind. I'll tell you briefly 2 stories that changed my way of thinking. When I was younger, I was looking at a magazine. On one of the pages was a male in his 40s walking a wheelbarrow full of freshly dug up fruits and vegetables. You could tell they were recently dug up since dirt was still caked on. The male was pushing the wheelbarrow down a homemade path with grass growing on either side. Then it hit me. This man didn't have any arms. He had a rope around his neck pushing it. Fast forward to my next story. This is close as hell. My grandfather served in the Korean conflict. My grandfather's squad leader told the soldiers to collect all the grenades that had not been used and put them in a pile. Private Thornhill noticed that one of the pins had fallen out of his grenade, and he quickly picked it up. Right when he was about to release it, it blew up in his hand. Now, I'm no doctor or anything, but the Army had limited amount of medicine on the field. They put a hook on his hand. They sent him back to South Dakota, where he was from, and he was a soldier. I mean, if they can do all that with no arms, no missing limbs, I can do whatever I want to and do it well, just because I know I'm blessed.